Hi, I'm Margaret from Margaret's Crafts. I want to share with you some of my projects that I've been working on over the past couple months. I want to welcome any new viewers and welcome back any previously viewers. I hope everyone had a wonderful summer. I took the summer off. Work was different in the summertime, so my hours are very different. In this video, I want to share with you some of my knitting, spinning, and now weaving that I've been doing over the past few months. To start off with, I'll show you some of my finished items. I do have a pair of socks. I do have them both. But this is a pair of socks that I made for my son. This is a simple rib sock. There's no pattern for it. I'm just doing I did a 2x2 rib all the way for the top, and then I did a 2x3 rib for the leg and the foot. I used the US 2 or 2.75 millimeter, and the yarn that I used is Peyton's Croy in Gray Brown Marl. And I just, like I said, I did the ribbing, and then I do a rib for the foot, the leg and the foot. I do a Fish Lips Kiss heel, and then I just do a decrease heel, and the pattern that I use for my heel is from Hermione's Everyday Socks. I love the way her heel is, and I think I go down to 12 stitches. So it gives it a nice rounded toe. So that's his socks now. And he can finally get them after several months now. I also completed a hat out of some hand-spun yarn that I used, and I just call this it's just a simple hat out of, it was Hobby Lobby Yarn Bee Stretch Taffy in Sweet Licorice. It was that thick yarn that you can use to do the hand knitting or with the big needles. Well, I just took that and spun it. And I just made just a simple hat with a 2x2 ribbing, and then I did just stockinette. And this is out of my hand spun. And then I just took it down so far, and then I just gathered it because I wanted to knit as much as I could with this yarn to finish it. And my newest finish is a weaving project. And I started this on Monday, and I finished it yesterday. I wanted to experiment, and I used Mandala, the Lions brand Mandala, in the Spirit colorway. You can see that. And this is my first one. It hasn't been washed yet, so to relax it. But I know that I'm doing my edges a little tight, so I'll have to watch that on my next one. And all the way down. I haven't trimmed my tassels yet. And I just did knots at the end. I have to weave my ending and beginning strand in after I weave it in. This is my first time weaving. I do have the Cricut 15-inch rigid heddle. So that's the scarf. I didn't do it the full length because I thought it would be too wide. And as you can see, these are the colors that are in it. When I warped it, I used just the started from the inside of the cake out, and it had the pretty colors. But then when that went all into the warp, and then when I did the weft, the weaving of it, it was just the grays and the dark blues. But that's fine. If it, I'll see how this blocks out, or this washes up, and I'll just give this to my son because his favorite color is blue. So I made it super long, and so that you can wear it different ways. You can wear it like this, so it's nice and warm. It's nice and doubled up on your neck. It isn't too big, or you can wear it. He can wear it doubled around his neck, and then still crossed in the front to keep his chest warm. However he wants to wear it. But any more like when I make one for me, I will not make it this long. This is way too long. I was looking to find out how long to make it, and it said to do it 3 yards, which is 9 feet, which is fine for him because he's like 6'4". And so this will probably be perfect for him. But I'm only 5'2", 5'4", so it's really long on me. And I know when I did it, I skipped a couple. I didn't have my tension quite right. You can't really see it. I see it because I can pick it out where I went over too many. That was because when I went through, my yarn wasn't really tight. I didn't have anything to roll the paper. I didn't have the paper to roll. But I have since bought some craft paper on a roll that I'm going to cut down to size to fit when I do my next one and see if I can make that one a little bit better. But I loved how this came out. And I kept thinking when it was on there, it seems like it was going to be hard, but it is really soft. And I do have another ball that I'm going to use to make a hat. I'm going to knit a hat to go with it. But those are my 3 finished items. Now my works in progress. I am working on a pair of socks that I did. I take those back and forth to work, and they're left in the car. So I'll try to insert a picture here. This is that yarn from Michaels, and it's called Perfect Yarn. Not exactly perfect yarn because the striping didn't match up when I'm doing both of them. Some had a wider strip one, some had a small, thinner strip. But I'm doing shorty socks because I want to see how that yarn feels because it is acrylic and nylon instead of wool and nylon. So I want to see how they fit on me and everything. So I didn't want to make a long pair of socks to experiment with a new yarn. So I'm doing just a shorty sock, and I did the Fish Lips Kiss Heel, and I'm working down the foot on both of them. I work not 2 at a time, but I work 2 at the same time where I do a little bit on one and a little bit on the other, a little bit on one, a little bit on the other. So until I get down to the toe, then I'll just do one toe and the other toe and have it done. So I'll share that with you the next time. Hopefully I'll have more progress done, and I'll be able to share that with you. Something else that I'm working on is out of my hand spun, and it is a this one is the loops and thread. It was also that finger, that hand knitting yarn, and it's called Free Spirit in Dusty Blue and Navy that I made it in. And it is 60% polyester, 20% acrylic, 20% wool. And it is 2-ply and about a DK weight. So I started with making a sweater for myself. And it's not, I'm working sort of from a pattern to start with, but then I want to change the bottom and the the bottom of the around the waistband. I want to put some lace pattern, and then on the sleeves, I want to just bring the colors down into it, maybe a little bit of lace, and then a cuff. And the pattern that I'm using, that I'm getting some of my numbers from, is from Drops Design. It's called Come Here, and it's for DK. I don't know if you could see that, but I'm just getting started on it, and I am using my hand spun yarn. I couldn't find my needles, that's why I hadn't started on it earlier, and found out they were in a project. So that's what I'm working on. Something else that I'm working on that I don't know if I'm going to finish, I showed you before, was this shawl that I was making. So I was down here before when I was working on it, and now I got up to here, but I kind of stopped working on it because it's not really next to skin. It may be okay. It feels just slightly prickly, so I may still go ahead and finish it. This is some more of my hand spun, and it is also hand dyed. But I really wasn't crazy about the coloring, the way it colored up. That's all I have left of the first ball, and I still have another, because I dyed 2 hanks. So I still have another one to work on. When I get to almost this one done, then I'll start the other one, and I know when to start my decreases to come back the other way on the shawl. And I don't have the name. I'll put the name of the shawl down below. And my last thing that I have that I've been working on, well, it's kind of deconstructing on it, is this sweater that I made a long time ago. And I just did not like how big these sleeves are. And I didn't like the collar. So I pulled the sleeves out. I have those on holders. I pulled the collar out. I have it on a holder. And I did start a couple rows. I'm just going to knit up some and do a little short ribbing on it. And then I'll pull the other arm out, and I'm tapering the arms down a whole lot because I just don't like how these arms turned out. So I'm kind of deconstructing and then reconstructing. So that's what I have on that one. Then I think I'd like it and I'd wear it more. And that's all the knitting that I have. I have done a lot of spinning because this summer we had Tour de Fleece. And in Tour de Fleece, I got a lot of spinning done. Some of the spinning was before Tour de Fleece started, that I had spun for my sweater, because I want to do the bottom part of the sweater, I want to do in the navy blue. The top part of the sweater is going to be in the dusty blue. So that's going to be the sweater that I'm making. And here's more of it. One more. That's all my spinning. And I do have the electric eel wheel 5.2 is where I do most of my spinning on. Then, like for the hat that I made, I had also spun 2 because I wanted to make him, this is for my husband, and I wanted to make him a scarf. So I have, to make the scarf, I have these grays. And this also came out of some of that Loops and Thread Free Spirit in charcoal for this one. And this one was the the Yarn Boots Stretch Taffy for the two-tone. So I'm going to do the warp in this one, in the solid gray, and the weft in this one, the printed gray. So if I need it more, I may do like striping of his in there like that. Okay, now I also did a, I had bought some fiber from Kanji, I think that's how it is, and it was 75-25 superwash merino, superwash wool. Yeah, I think it's that merino wool. Yeah, and 25, 75-25 with a nylon in it. So I did do this to make some socks. I'm going to have to dye it. And what I've worked on, oh, and I had also done this one. This is a Cascade Yarns, the Mondo in Ecru. It was some more of that roving that I spun, and it's just a Ecru, just a plain. I had that to make with something else that I was gonna make. And also this summer I decided that I wanted, my dog is getting old, so I wanted to do some, just something memorable for her. So I brushed her real good, you know, over several days and got a nice bag of her wool. And then I mixed it with some plain fiber and made this, I made them into Rolags first. And I did some, a little bit of sparkle in with it too. I don't know if the sparkle is going to show up. And so this was extra that I had after I filled up the bobbin and I made. That was her. I'll never use this. This will just go in a container. It's very thick and thin, and I didn't care because I'm not going to be using this. I'm just keeping this as a keepsake. So that's what I had. And let's see. This will make sense then. For my Tour de Fleece, I started out with this one is by Wynn Aaron's Natural Fibers and Hubbard, and it's 100% thin comb top. And I ended up with 314 yards of a fingering to sport weight. And it is 2-plied and it is fractal spun. There's the color right there. But there's what it looks like. And I had a little bit left over. But that's the color of it right there. So that was the first thing I spun on Tour de Fleece. That was one. Oh, the second one was the fiber from the hat. And then I did, I don't know which order. Well, this is another one by Gwen Aaron's Natural Fibers, and this is 100% wool comb top blue face luster. And it is the browns, rust. And this one I did, it was two different colors, two different 4-ounce braids, and I just broke them all apart, put them in a bin, and then just pulled them out. And I ended up two-plying it. I have 540 yards of a sports weight. My next one that I have is, I did two, I pulled out my drop spindle, and I would take my drop spindle to work with me every day. And this one is Cascade Yarns Mondo in the Walnut Heather. And I ended up, it's 50% superfine alpaca and 50% wool. It's two-ply, sports weight, 170 yards. And that's done on my drop spindle. There's about the right coloring right there. And then after I finished that one, here's another one I did on my drop spindle. And it's another Gwen Aaron Fibers, and it's 100% comb top of blue face luster. And this is 4 ounces. It's two-ply, 250 yards of a finger. It's very inconsistent. And it's like from a fingering to a worsted. It's a really thick and thin on the drop spindle. And it's just shades of gray. And another one I have done is Three Sheeps Gallery Workshop. I don't know the name of it. I just bought it by the ounce. And I have 6 ounces. I have 452 yards, two-ply, 100% merino. It's like a heavy fingering to a sport weights. And it's like deep denim blue. And then I have Targhee. This one is another Gwen Aaron's Natural Fiber Cascade Yarns. And this one was a Targhee, silk, and bamboo. And I think I made, yeah, I did. I made, I added some of that mandel roving for the hand knitting in with this, and I made it on my blending board. And it is 80% wool, 10% silk, 10% bamboo, and then I added in the 50-50 superwash fine alpaca and wool. And it is two-ply, and it's 468 yards of a sports weight. And it is an orangish color. And then I have the little extra from where I rolled it off. Okay, then I got a new spinner. It's called the Electric Eel Wheel Nano. I joined the Kickstarter last year. And so I've been spinning, and I get super fine, very consistent spinning. I'll do another video where I show you all the mods that I did on this. It is quiet, spins just perfect. And these 3 skeins I spun on my Nano, but then I plied on the 5.2. And this one is Strikers. It's Alpaca and Romney roving. And it is 2-plied. I have 376 yards of a lace weight. And I think it's just natural colored. But you can see it spins. That thing spins so, I can spin so thin and get such an even spin too. That was one. The next thing I did was that Malabrigo Noob in number 862, Pedros, 270 yards of another lace weight of 2-ply. I love this color. And I'm thinking even those two will go together maybe, because they're both natural colors, and maybe make a lace weight shawl. And yeah, that's the colors. The browns, some rust, burnt orange, some gray. And my last one that I've done is Gwen Aaron's Natural Fibers Thin 100% Comb Top. And it is 296 yards. And this I did a 3-ply. So I'm trying to get a nice even fingering weight. And I got a heavy lace to a light fingering. And that's the color right there. And the last one I had a little bit of this left. This was the, and I also did this on my, spun it on my Nano and then plied it on my 5.2. And this one is 23 micron superwash nylon blend. Oh, and I forgot how many yards I got out of that one. And that one is a 3-ply. So this one did come out much more even. So what I think I'm going to do is, especially I'm going to do until I can learn to spin a little bit thicker, or I may just leave it like that and spin all my sock yarn on my Nano and then ply it on, do a 3 bobbins full, and then ply it onto my my 5.2. But that's the last of a sock yarn that I have right there. And the only thing that I have purchased, let me get all this stuff moved out the way. And the only thing that I've purchased as far as yarn goes, I haven't purchased any fiber. Been trying to stay out of the shops until I use up some of what I do have. I saw online that Joann Fabrics has the Lion Brand Mani Petty, and they're 50-gram balls. I got 2 of each one. And they are fingering weight, 75-25, 75% superwash wool, 25% polyamide, which is like a nylon. And they're 50-gram balls, so I did get 2 of each of those. I love these for me. I don't know if I had showed you before, but I did purchase a blending board. And it is the Daisy Fiber Company. It does have the stand. I have it sitting like that. I think it's a 12 by 12. Is it 72 dots? Whatever the thing is that they're made of. I think that's what it is. I'm not quite sure. And my newest purchase has been my 15-inch Schultz Spindle Company, Boulder, Colorado, the 15-inch Cricut Rigid Heddle.